We now turn to breaking news. A 2-year-old girl is dead and her mother is in police custody this morning. News Channel 5's Joy Benedict is in the breaking news center with the very latest on what police are now calling a homicide investigation. And Joy, we understand that an autopsy could be done today on this child.
That's right, Kimberly. An autopsy is actually scheduled for this morning for Alexandria Hamilton and could begin within the next couple of hours. The little girl was found dead last night in an East Side apartment. And as police continue to look for clues in this case, Alex's family wants answers.
My daughter called me and told me that she stopped breathing.
A heart-stopping phone call for this local grandmother who arrived here on Longwood Avenue hoping to help her family. But instead, she was greeted by flashing lights, crying neighbors, and crime scene tape.
When we pulled up down here, I seen that yellow tape on that door. And I knew my grandbaby wasn't alive. I knew my grandbaby was gone, my knee baby.
Hope Burpo's granddaughter is Alexandria Hamilton, a little 2-year-old girl known as Alex. And as she was placed in this ambulance just before 9 Wednesday night, the sight brought tears from strangers and questions from those who loved her.
The police won't let me talk to my daughter. They won't let me see my grandbaby. The only thing I know is my grandbaby out there laying in the ambulance car dead.
Miss Burpo's daughter, Taisha Hamilton, was placed in the back of this police car. Police say after paramedics arrived, they found Alex unresponsive and called investigators. Alex's mom was taken into custody for questioning. We're told 2-year-old Alex showed signs of abuse, including multiple burns all over her body.
And now they talk about pressing charges against my daughter. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Devastating news for a woman who just lost a grandchild and now must deal with police questioning her own daughter.
I'm so sorry for her loss, and man, I know my baby hurt. Oh, I know she hurt.
As for what happens now, the coroner should begin an autopsy, as I said early this morning, because although they've told us that Alex suffered from severe burns, we do not know exactly how she died, and that information will surely lead to more questions by investigators. Pete. For the 5th day in a row, folks in this East Side community are waking up confused, and they're waking up with a lot of questions. First, they want to know, who is this neighbor that's been living next door? Who is Anthony E. Sowell? And more importantly, this morning, they want to know who were the 6 women found dead inside his home. And those were the questions that were addressed last night during a vigil here on Imperial Avenue. More than 100 people flooded the street, lighting candles and sharing a variety of emotions. They came to rally not only to honor the nameless women found buried in this home, but to remember the missing. Police are now combing through missing persons reports, trying to identify the bodies inside this house. So last night, neighbors came armed with photos and flyers of their loved ones. And although many in attendance just want answers, others are angry and frustrated that their loved ones' missing persons cases were not given enough attention.
I feel like he did his best as he can to find her, try, but I feel like the police could have been a lot stronger. I feel like they let people's backgrounds and the life that they lived when they were younger affect how the community treats them.
They just looked at us like we was crazy, like she 40 years old and they want somebody that's a teenager.
Now, that was the son and mother of Michelle Mason. She's been missing for more than a year and lived just around the corner. They have been in contact with the coroner and the police. And back out here live on Imperial Avenue, you can see a police car remains on the scene, a police car that's been here for several days now since this happened, because this is still considered a crime scene. And also, police are expanding their search this morning. They're going to continue looking in abandoned homes in this area because they fear that the women found here, that this crime scene may not be the only one, and that there may even be more victims out there. So certainly still a lot to come in this case. Reporting live on Imperial Avenue, Joy Benedict, News Channel 5.
You have to be able to use a dictionary.
It's a 4th grade classroom like any other. Young names decorate the door and the desks. There are quizzes and number 2 pencils. But hidden among the difficulties of the new school year, one student in room 317 has an extra challenge.
Nobofibroma.
It's a big word for this little man, but when you have cancer, you grow up kinda quick.
When I woke up from the surgery, I was in a lot of pain. I could not even move my head.
Quinn had part of his hip removed 9 months ago when doctors took out a tumor. And although he may walk a little different, he's walking. And Thursday, he'll do it on the catwalk.
I'm a little nervous.
Quinn is one of a handful of young cancer survivors strutting their stuff with some Cleveland big shots who make the shots. Guys like Mo Williams, Daniel Gibson. It's part of a fundraiser between the Cavs Better Halves and the Flashes of Hope Foundation.
Really is a fantastic organization.
Carolyn Brown is head coach Mike Brown's Better Half. She says raising money for children with cancer is the right thing to do.
I have a niece who was diagnosed with cancer when she was young. I was really very touched by that.
And she's touched by this organization founded by Allison Clark.
We started Flashes of Hope during our son's treatment for cancer when he was 2.
Her son is Quinn.
The first time I had cancer, I had a really good friend. He always used to go to Burger King and he always used to share my fries. Then he died and Mom never had a picture of him.
So Quinn's parents decided to change that for other children fighting this terrible disease.
The photographers volunteer, the stylists volunteer. They photograph the kids with their siblings, with their parents.
7 years later, this foundation is flourishing.
We started here in Cleveland and we are now in 36 cities.
As for Quinn, right now he's cancer-free.
He always finds a way to find the positive in everything he does. He's amazing.
And Thursday, that means being a little star among big shots. And someday, hopefully closing the door on 4th grade, room 317, and cancer. Joy Benedict, News Channel 5.
Good morning and brr. I feel like I say that every year this time of year, but once again, we are standing outside in the cold, and it is cold, and it is blustery, and it is windy, and that just makes it feel even worse. But you can see there are still a few people, a few stragglers out here on the streets. At least we did just have one a few seconds ago. He probably ran for cover because that's how cold it is. We have a little bit of drifting and blowing snow out here this morning downtown, a little bit of wet roads, a little bit of slush on some of the roadways as well that you want to look out for. And this has really been the scene all night long because that's where we have seen people just bundling up the best that they could as the snow was blowing, trying to avoid that as they're getting out and about, catching the buses or whatever they need to do. And the roads are also going to look the same. You're going to see a lot of slush still on the roads. Even though ODOT is out, they're going 3 strong. I've seen them all morning long as they go right in a row trying to clear those roads. It's very hard to do that since you do get so much slush and sort of salt and that ice, and they're putting the brine down, trying to make sure that things don't freeze. That's something to look out for. And you're also going to see another hazard on the roads, and that is going to be the tow trucks. You know, we talked to AAA yesterday. They received 1,500 calls yesterday alone. That's up 40% from normal. So they are certainly busy taking those phone calls, and they're obviously not the only ones, as there are many other tow companies out there as folks are trying to get in and out and on their way. But you know, ODOT does have a few more tricks up their sleeve this year, as we can say. ODOT is now on Twitter. They are tweeting their updates and road conditions. Drivers can also log on to check conditions and see the number of trucks that are out there on the roads. But just searching ODOT isn't enough. I actually just added them as friends to myself. You have to do ODOT and then _ Cleveland or ODOT _ Akron or wherever you live, and that's where you can get those conditions. If you can't find them, just find me on Twitter. I'm just under Joy Benedict, and they're under I am following the ODOT crews. Now back out here live on East 30th, you can see we still got some snow piles on here on the roads, and that's going to be pretty much standard wherever you are downtown or also on the highways. So these are the spots that you need to avoid when you're driving, and the simple driving tips to apply, especially if you're going over those bridges when it's this cold out. Those bridges are going to freeze first, so always avoid braking on a bridge if at ever possible. And I feel sorry for this gentleman here who's on a bicycle at this time of the morning, but it is cold, it is blustery out here. Give him a nice warm wave. Good morning, and Happy New Year to you. Stay warm. And that's really going to be the scene out here. It's cold. It's what happens in the winter. You just got to get on your bike, grab a scarf, and keep on moving.